4th down, the final
Got
play,
some spring.
Unless they can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey under pressure, throws it. Incomplete. The Buckeyes win. Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making the judgments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Saul, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Saul coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards.
Here they come.
Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. And Smith, he's got it. Jeremiah Smith. 2025 college football national champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enon, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Well, Seattle Matt couldn't make it. He's stuck up in Seattle doing yard work, so we got the next best thing, the King Buckeye, Alex Bryan. What's up, my man?
What's up, man? Good to see you again for the second time today.
Second time today, the first time in person today.
Yeah.
We met at the College Football Dogs, and then we just met for the first time in person.
Yeah.
The spring scrimmage, we should say, the Student Appreciation Day. It was awesome. It was really all that we needed to see. A lot of maybe more questions than we had before. We didn't necessarily get a lot answered, especially when we got to jump into the quarterback battle. Because man, oh man, was that a battle today. And I got my opinion on who won it. But before we get to that, I got to give a shout out to that fellow 937 Buckeye, Aaron Scott. He was balling out. I saw him in a couple pass breakups against Jeremiah Smith. So anytime you're going against Jeremiah Smith and you get a PBU, props to you, man. Props to you. So that defensive backfield is stacked, man. Stacked.
Whoa.
From the starters all the way down to the incoming freshmen. Just absolutely stacked. But the main event, before we get there, what was your take on this quarterback battle?
Let me ask you really quick. Was that your first one today?
That's the first time I've been there for a student appreciation game. Yeah. Or practice.
Yeah. Student appreciation days are always fun. For those who don't know, I graduated in 2014, so technically I'm not a student anymore, but you know, when you keep your Buck ID and you pretty much look like it, you still get in. So, you know, word to the wise for any other Buckeye fans who want to keep going to those things long after they graduate. But
do they check your Buck ID?
They do. You just flash it real quick and they go, you're good. They don't scan it or nothing. So I'm going to keep doing it as long as I get away with it, but don't tell anybody I said that, of course. You know, it's my little,
you might be telling too many people tonight.
I might. But anyway, there's actually a Wolverine fan that got in there today somehow, which I still have yet to figure out how that happened. But anyway, as far as quarterbacks go, you know, you and I talked about it a little bit while we were together today. It was clear. The offense looked a lot more fluent and ran a lot better with Lincoln Kienholz under center. Now, that could be for a multitude of reasons. It could just be because he's been here longer, knows a little better. But Julian Sayin's no slouch. I mean, he had some good things today, some good deep balls that we saw. Some deep balls that one got picked off. You know, I like to put it that he
Jermaine Mathews, by the way, always getting the picks.
Yeah, I mean, he was all over the field today too, and we'll talk about that secondary because it's worth noting. But yeah, he threw up a lot of passes that I would consider not 50-50 balls, but more like putting up prayer balls and just praying somebody catches
I
it.
agree. Off the back foot. In fact, one of those picks was, or the
Yeah.
pick was
Yeah.
off the back foot and a prayer.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at, and obviously we're TSC when he was in there looked great, but he's not legitimately in this battle. He would have to be pretty overly special. Not that he isn't, but he'd have to be pretty overly special to be in this battle right now, given he just got here. So between the two horses that are legitimately in this race, Kienholz just looks more comfortable.
He does.
He just
Smooth.
makes it more fluent so far.
Yeah, fluent and smooth would be the words to describe it. If I was taking this small sample size from what I saw today,
yeah,
he's the winner of the quarterback battle right now, just from today. Obviously, there were some things that I liked. I really liked the way he was able to kind of get the ball out quick, read the plays, and that speaks to what you just mentioned. He knows the system better. He was able to get the ball out real quick, and it looked like he knew where he wanted to go with the ball, right? It did look like at times he was getting better protection. He was going more with a first-team offensive line today.
Yeah.
And they were mixing it around a little bit too, so it wasn't necessarily always the first-team line. So it was hard to determine with that. The one thing that I'm going to give saying is, man, he seems to have that relationship with Jeremiah Smith, which is the number one thing you want on this team. He was directing a lot of balls to Jeremiah Smith. Not to say Kienholz wasn't, but the balls that Kienholz threw were all over the place. Like, he knew where to go, where the checkdowns were. He knew where his receivers were going to be. And at times it just looked like Sayin wasn't quite sure where he wanted to go with the ball pre-snap, and wasn't quite sure where he wanted to read on the defense as well.
Yeah, obviously like a week or two ago, we had heard some rumblings that Sayin had a bad Saturday. And, you write that off as like a one-time, maybe.
This is 2 check marks.
And it's spring ball. I mean, nobody's going to be perfect, even your best player. We saw Jeremiah Smith drop a pass today. Like,
I saw him drop a couple.
Oh, my God, he is human. But, obviously these things are going to happen. Everything unpolished, even though some of these guys just played a couple months ago. So, I go into these student appreciation days never expecting to see anything elite, even though one time I saw Garrett Wilson make this sideline catch that was absolutely out of this world. And I said, that guy's great. But you never expect to go in seeing anything polished or great or anything of the sort. You just go in hoping that both sides of the ball do enough to make you say, okay, this team has something here. Let's see how everything evolves into the fall. And then, of course, once the season starts and gets going, because you're going to evolve over the season too. So
sure. What I thought, well, first let's get into the locker room. I gotta get to some of our boys. Dominique Ambrose, talk about some ugly mugs. What up, fellas? What up, Dominique? College football dogs. We met you there too. I don't know if Dominique Ambrose is still with the dogs or not, but
I have no clue.
Brandon, he's saying, what's up, Alex Bryant?
What's up?
All right. And then Kyle McGraw, do you think Lincoln is being overlooked? Absolutely. From what I saw today, he's absolutely being overlooked by the fan base, by the media, by everyone all around.
Yeah.
He threw that dime of a ball. You think it was about 50 yards, right?
Yeah, it was around midfield.
Somewhere on the verge of 50 yards. I have to go back and look at that, but it was spot on, corner of the end zone, furthest away from me you could possibly be at the time. So I didn't get any footage of it, but man, it was beautiful to see. Absolutely beautiful. And I saw that, made my eyes lit up.
Yeah.
I could think of one other time last season my eyes lit up like that, and that was that first throw in the Tennessee game to Jeremiah Smith. I was like, oh, we got something here. And that's exactly where my mind went. Whoa, that stood out, man. So we got something.
Obviously, the coaches don't overlook him. The coaches know what they got. A lot of people tend to forget that Kienholz was like a 3-sport athlete in North Dakota. and was
South Dakota, Pierre.
Yeah. Oh, South Dakota. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you
I made that mistake before too.
Yeah. You look at his film, and I mean, it speaks for itself. But people, of course, think to that Missouri game, not understand that the circumstances for him in that game were just all against him at that point.
Freshman, number one.
Yeah.
And a mismatched offensive line, number two.
The offensive line where we were punishing
hodgepodge.
And, you know, it was just all thrown together. Nobody cared. So we can't hold that against him. We know Lincoln has enough tangibles to be a great quarterback here. And it was like something that I've told many people. You look at the last three quarterbacks that have won a national title for Ohio State. It's not Braxton Miller. It's not Dwayne Haskins. Not C.J. Stroud, Justin Fields. Not any of those guys. It's probably the three most above average quarterbacks that we've had in the last 25 years.
That's true.
So you don't need a guy who's like super elite. We just need a guy who can get the ball out and not make mistakes.
You got to also look at what they had around them too. I mean, 2002 was and 2014 both stellar defenses, right? And Cordell 12 gauge Cordell Jones was just an anomaly, man. The way he could sling that ball on the receivers that we had, it was just something different. And that's what I looked like today when I saw Kienholz throwing the ball. I mean, and it wasn't just that one long ball. It was over the middle to Tate. Him and Tate have something special because he was getting it to Tate in traffic, downfield. And then Mylan Graham was open for both quarterbacks every time. He was coming on the crossing routes, just as the check down, and he was always open.
Yeah. It's like I told you.
He probably had 4 or 5 catches, maybe.
Something like that. Yeah.
And we just had a brief period, watching this.
And another one I want to mention, and I told this to you while we were watching. I was like, man, that number 11, anytime they throw him the ball, he's catching it. He's getting open. Yeah. And you told me his name was Quincy Porter, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember him from the recruiting cycle. And
it's weird that we can forget about studs, right? Because it's so stacked. And a lot of times we get caught up with the wide receiver position being stacked, but it's getting deep all around. The only place that's not deep is probably defensive line. Yeah.
And to some extent quarterback. I mean, it's not as deep as we had it before. But of course, once, I say that today, Quincy Porter becomes the first freshman to lose his black stripe.
Yeah, that was perfect. That was
perfect timing right there. So, we got some secret weapons that we may not see this year or may see little of. But I think that they're going to make impacts when they do get a chance to go out there. So once again, I'm pleading to Brian Hartline. Let's get a deeper rotation of wide receivers so we can have so many weapons out there, build for the future, and allow defenses to be like, oh, well, we have to figure out how to cover 6 different guys, instead of.
Well, I think you try that on for size at the Grambling State games of the world. You're probably not going to get a deep rotation going into the Texas game.
Oh yeah, no.
But is this quarterback battle a good thing for us, or is it a bad thing? Because it looks like you want your head guy in charge. You want them established, and I don't know when you want that necessarily. I would imagine that you want that known by spring, whether you say it or not. The guys on the team need to know who the leader is going into that off season, but the battle's not going to be over this spring. And it's going to be even more interesting to go to the spring game and see what's going on, because this battle in front of hopefully over 80,000 people will be a lot different than, at an indoor facility where it wasn't too loud.
Yeah. Yeah. This was one of the more quieter student appreciation days that there's been. It's gotten much louder in the past, but yeah, it's like I told you today, you think back to like even the Urban Meyer era, we've dealt with these quarterback battles or lack thereof in all different ways, right? We've had the years we go in, we know who the guy is. We've gone in, and by the end of spring, we found out who the quarterback is, a la Dwayne Haskins, Joe Burrow. And, we all know how that went, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Good for both parties. One had a little bit of a better going with it. But, and then, of course, the Kyle McCord, Devin Brown situation, where that went into the season. I think Day now at this point understands this has to be a thing decided by, like, at worst mid-fall camp. And I think this will be another one that he extends into that. I think last year, even though it took until about that point for Will to officially be the starter, we kind of knew. We kind of knew who it was going to be anyway.
Well, everyone's saying we kind of knew now that it was Julian Sayin.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's crowned him.
And after today, there is no way you could say that. There is absolutely no way.
After the spring so far in totality, I don't think we can just anoint him. I mean,
I gotta take you back a level though. Tavian St. Clair, what he showed me today was nothing short of amazing. And he has that better escapability. You saw him kind of extend plays, rolling out of the pocket. He was even running when it wasn't live hits on the quarterback and still gaining yards. There was no one near him because he was taken off so quickly. And he's tall. He sees the field good. He's got a laser rocket arm. He threw from the far hash to the far sideline and without a beat. It was a beautiful ball. It hit the guy on target. So he's got all those strong throws that you need. I didn't see him with a real good deep ball yet. I mean, he did have that mid-range and everything was looking good, man. I don't know that you can say that he's not in the battle because I know you physically can't have that just from a roster standpoint. Like if you put him as the starting quarterback, you lose two dudes.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously the best guy is going to start. And I think Ryan Day, to your point, has learned that lesson in the past. Like, you got to just start who's the best.
Yeah, he's definitely learned that lesson, especially with the Kyle McCord fiasco. And I mean, I guess by just definition, Tavian St. Clair is part of the battle. But realistically, when we have two guys who have been here longer and know the system better, Ryan's probably going to trust them more. Now, if it were up to me, I would make him just as equal of a part of the battle simply because if we're realistic with ourselves, could this team repeat? Sure. Will they? Probably not. We've lost a lot. Not to say that we don't have guys just as good or better that are going to play. And I'm
a lot more hopeful than I was prior to today.
Yeah, for sure.
I am a lot more hopeful for a repeat. I mean, the chances are statistically, you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those chances are very small. It doesn't happen often.
Right. Especially at Ohio State. It's never happened. Doesn't mean it can't. I mean, it should have happened in 68, 69, and 70, but, lay an egg in Ann Arbor.
Well, and that's the thing. You can still lay an egg in Ann Arbor. The college football world has changed. We saw it last year, and hopefully we never see it again.
Yeah, let's not put that into the universe. Let's get this back on track. But and you look
defensively, do you think the defense won the game?
Oh yeah.
What we saw? Easy. Yeah. And that's something you expect from a spring practice, a spring scrimmage. It's a lot easier to install the defense than it is a complicated offense, right? Even with a new defensive coordinator, the defense won the day.
Yeah, I gotta say, obviously this was a top defense last year, one of the best in the country, if not the best. This defense has more juice than I've seen.
Oh yeah, it does. On the sideline, did you see when they were doing those 4th and goal? They were getting lit up, man. They were over there jumping around.
That is the first time at a student appreciation day I've ever seen any unit be that loud and that hyped and that juiced ever.
And then Riley Pettijohn.
Yeah.
He was not backing down from that number 70 transfer from Minnesota, Philip Daniels. Philip Daniels he got called for a flag. They got sent 15-yard. And I didn't preface this yet. There were referees there, and there are referees there for every practice. So they were throwing flags, right?
Yep.
And there was a couple delay of games. There was a couple holding calls. There was a pass interference or two. And there was a 15-yarder against Philip Daniels. He just kept going after the whistle. And Riley Pedron, he wasn't backing down, man.
Yep.
Freshman, he just put on all that weight. So he's like, man, I'm here. Come at me.
I've seen a lot of people say it on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it already. It seems like Patricia has brought some menace mentality to the defense.
Oh yeah,
and I'm not hating.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Especially
I'm absolutely here for it.
Good as it is, and as deep as it is, like
they're mentally winning reps too.
Yes.
Like they have the confidence, they know where to get, and they're getting there quick.
Yeah.
Right. Payton Pierce knocking down a ball, almost knocked down another one. Almost had a pass breakup and a ball going to Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
And luckily it was. I think that was actually the play that I'm trying to remember. I think that was the one that Aaron Scott broke it up, but Payton Pierce almost got a mid on it, and he got a mid on another one. So Payton Pierce was one guy that really, really shined. There wasn't a lot of running the ball, and when they did, it was to thud and a little bit of tackle, so they called it quick. CJ Donaldson was breaking tackles. I posted one where he got the check down and got the ball in the flats and took some people out of bounds with him. Bo Jackson, he was looking explosive. We've been hearing a lot about it, haven't seen it. He was absolutely explosive, fast, and he's a big dude. Fast. I want to know what his 40 time is because I'm not sure.
Outside of that Team Up North game last year, the run game under Lachlan, I haven't been this confident in the running backs in a long time.
Well, it's the offensive line too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that interior of the offensive line is set.
Yeah.
Nothing but studs.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think they're all going pro, including the backup. Yeah, we have 3 guards, possibly. Who looked better, Quincy Porter or Mylan Graham?
That's a coin flip.
I would say I would go with Mylan Graham.
Yeah,
but
probably.
Shane, it's hard to say, man. It's really hard to say.
Today, they both looked outstanding. They both got them. They both caught basically probably everything that came their way, to be honest with you. They're both.
Think if there was a drop by Mylan Graham at all. Not one that I remember off the top of my head. He probably had 5 passes to him. They were all relatively shorter routes.
Yep.
Across the middle.
Yep.
But those crossing routes, that's the staple of the offense that they're always going to run. And if you're one of those guys that gets it, you got some jets, man.
Those 2 dudes are they're gonna be household names in the
next wave, man. The next wave of wide receivers, they're both right up there.
Pay Brian Hartline whatever he wants.
Yeah, and he was calling good plays too. A nice little wide variety of plays. I know he's called a good screen on 3rd down that they really needed to get. They were going for 4th down a lot because obviously it wasn't really that big a deal. They just wanted to see. And then they would just start it back. It would be the 1s, then the 2s, then the 3s. If you didn't get your 1st down, then it switched back to the 2s. So it looked like a great. And this is what's hard about it, because a win's a loss. Every time you see a win, someone doing good, that means someone else did bad on your team. And that's the hard part about watching games like this, spring game included.
Here's how I approach it. Every season, obviously, between offense or defense, I go, okay, which one am I more confident in this year? Defense for me. Oh, I want to see more offensive wins today. I didn't. The defense definitely had more wins today. Which isn't a bad thing.
A lot of pass breakups. Of pass breakups. PBUs galore.
And our fate this upcoming season is going to be dictated by how good Brian Hartline is at his new job, and how and quarterback we choose. Those are the two things that are going to really dictate what we do this entire season. If both turn out great, we're right back in the playoffs. We could be Big Ten champs, hopefully right the ship in the rivalry, and we have a great shot to go back to back. If even those things goes wrong, we'll see. If both go wrong, we're in hot water. But
I saw a couple people that were questioning, is this normal for the quarterback to be? There were some live periods where quarterback was live. Dominique Kirks had a sack on Julian Sayin, and he took him down. I mean, he wasn't really holding back. I mean, he wasn't doing anything nefarious, but he hit him good. And then Julian Sayin also had a scramble going into the end zone almost, and he got stuffed, man. TJ Alford stuffed him along with the help of it was Jason Moore. Jason Moore helped get him down too, and he got hit, man. You heard those pads pop. I give it to Julian too, because man, he took it into some big dudes, and he wasn't fearful about it at all. He was trying to score.
That was a first for me too. I don't think I've been a part of one of these where I've seen the quarterback get hit ever.
Like
even
that. That was a hit. I'm telling you.
Now, like a third string, maybe I've seen that before, but like guys who are legitimately in a battle, I don't think I've ever. So there must be some different mindset now.
It's something I like to see, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to see those guys fight for yards.
Yeah.
It was kind of like it takes me back a little bit to that Will Howard run against Penn State when he fumbled at the 2-yard line. I was like, dude, you got to cover it with both and truck them and get in. And that was what we saw was saying. He wanted those extra yards. He had that mentality. I'm going to get this no matter what.
Yep.
And so I'll give him that. And I got to get back to this again. I got to preach it again, because this, I think it may be the differentiating factor in the long run. He gets the ball to Jeremiah Smith. And that is in the back of my head, because I want 15 targets to Jeremiah Smith every single game.
Yep.
No questions about it. Every single game.
Got to tell Ryan that too, because he and Chip were forgetting sometimes last year.
Feed the man.
Even in that,
feed the man the ball.
There's no reason his only reception of the second half was that game sealing catch. Like, that's ridiculous.
I can't stop talking about these quarterbacks. I'm so excited now.
Yeah, but let me say this. Obviously, Kienholz is no scrub. He was wasn't he like a 5-star out of high school?
No, he was. I believe he was a 3-star. I think his only Division I offer was to Washington.
I thought he was.
I'm pretty sure he was not.
But either way, he's obviously no slouch. But I will say this: if Julian's saying,
"Ooh, that's a tough one," I don't think the receivers are going. It would be someone low on the depth chart that we're not even thinking about.
Yeah,
because they're all going to get the ball spread. You know what I would worry more about would be tight end, because that tight end room is deep too.
But if
do you see any receivers leaving? Nothing that no one jumps out at me now, because they're all going to get a rotation
roster. Maybe like a what is his name, Inky Jones or whatever. Maybe a guy like that.
Someone down there.
Somebody way down on the totem pole.
I'm looking through the roster a little bit now. There's no one that is really jumping out in my head that I would be worried about.
But
and if they do leave, it's going to be someone that you're like, okay.
You're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, we'll manage. That's the least of our worries if a wide receiver leaves. I don't think anyone big is going anywhere.
Just like I live in Maslin, as much as I wanted to see Jaden Ballard be the next Devin Smith, I got to a point where I'm like, man, just go somewhere and like make a name for yourself. And then now
that's the hard part.
Hopefully
I'm rooting for all these. I'm rooting for all these Texas guys, and I'm like, man, I got to get these Ohio boys some love, because I really love to see Ohio guys do good.
Right.
Which is why Arvell Reese is one of the guys you want to see doing good. Phillip Daniels is the other guy, because he transferred in. That I absolutely love that about the transfer portal, that we don't have to take, those 3 stars that we're worried about and develop them here. We can wait and see what they do at Rutgers, at Minnesota, at Rice, and then be like, all right, time to come on in. And I don't even know if we're going to have room for that anymore on the offensive line the way we're recruiting right now.
Yeah, part of me kind of hopes that's the case. Part of me kind of doesn't, because if you can get some gems in the transfer portal, we'll grab them.
Did you notice the offensive line from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll know.
Onyanwa was out there.
We'll know better once the season starts. I kind of wait until we actually go up against some teams to, judge the trenches, because obviously that's been our Achilles heel the last years. And obviously the entire tale will be told up in Ann Arbor this year if the trenches are good enough or not, because we need to get that battle back in our favor.
But I think we have it back in our favor, man. We got those, 4 guys that are returning that rotated, right? Carson Hinsman's got center lockdown. I don't know who's switching in and out at center. I didn't take a look at the second string center at all. Joshua Padilla, probably.
Sierrafeld is going to be on there. Hinsman, that right.
But Sierrafeld, Luke Montgomery at guard.
Yeah, hopefully Luke.
Sierrafeld is playing tackle too. Ian Moore is playing tackle, and he played a lot with the ones today. Yeah. Ian Moore. And then we saw, obviously, Phillip Daniels was in there I think he was in there from the start too.
And it just depends on how Tyler Bone develops. I mean, we know some, but we don't know all of that. We know he can recruit, apparently, which is a plus compared to what we've had. But we'll see going forward the development side of things.
And Tegra, we forgot about Tegra. We didn't mention him.
So, I mean, if Tyler Bowen ends up being just as good or better of a developer, goodness.
I mean, we've always had to develop a little bit because we've never recruited anywhere near this. We're going to be turning guys away.
Yeah.
This year, we already have 3. Maybe we take 2 more. Maybe we take 3 at the most.
Yeah. Which kind of works.
Guys are gonna have to get on board and get in here now.
I just hope the guys we turn away don't go up north. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. What else do we get into? Anyone else that stood out to you? Defensively, let's stay with the defense for now.
Let me finish my thought on Sayin real quick first.
Okay, go for it.
What I was going to say was, obviously Kienholz is no scrub, but if Sayin can get to his potential, he'll win this job. He throws too much like Aaron Rodgers, and has enough gifted ability in him to, he should win this job. He should. And if he ends up not winning this job, like ever, I don't know what went wrong. Nick Saban recruited him, for goodness sakes. I mean, he's got something to him.
For sure.
And it's up to Ryan Day and staff to unlock that. And I think they will. It might just be taking a little bit more time, get them comfortable.
And that makes sense. It's spring ball. We got to.
Yeah.
And we're also not the guy there. We're not seeing it every day like Ryan Day. We did get those kind of rumblings about a bad practice in the spring at another time for Julian Sayin. So this is twice where maybe he hasn't won the day, but that's not counting you out by any means. It's more about Kienholz. Like, we're seeing him show that he can do it. He can manage this team. He can lead the team. And in fact, he was leading the team down to touchdowns.
Yeah.
Every time. That's the other thing. He had that it factor. Sometimes you're just the guy that can get the scoring done for whatever reason. And we don't even always know what that reason is. It's just when you are on the field and the team scores, that's what matters most.
Yep. And we got to remember, this season isn't like the others where we got layups starting out. We got Texas off rip. So
you have to be sharp from the front. And even if, let's just say Kienholz wins the job and Sayin stays, it's possible that he wins it later on in the season.
You never know.
And I don't want to take anything away from Kienholz, but man, because he was looking sharp, man. Looking sharp. Yeah, there were a couple of throws that he would wanted back, but man, he looked good. Defense. Let's go defense. Payton Pierce was the guy that stood out to me.
Yeah, he did great today. Obviously the usual suspects that you would expect to do good did solid to me today.
Sanchez.
King Curse of the world. Sanchez.
Devin Sanchez played a lot with the ones.
Like you mentioned earlier, Aaron Scott. He helped against Jeremiah Smith. I was super impressed. and I figured he'd be good, but obviously, you and I both said it. Will he play? He'll play this year, but is he going to start?
But there's a difference between good and good against the GOAT.
Yeah.
If you're good against Jeremiah Smith, you're good.
But one thing about Walton that I've learned very quickly is he likes rotating guys. He likes getting guys in.
They can. They are deep,
and when
man.
You're going to get in with Walton. So we're going to see a lot of Aaron Scott this year, and I can't wait. Just if you can hold your own against Jeremiah Smith, I have confidence that you.
And Devin Sanchez did it too.
Yeah, Devin said.
I mean, it may have been a little bit of luck and a little bit of a no call. There was a little hold before the ball got there. But hey, if the flag's not thrown, it's not a hold.
He's going to get there.
And he's still a freshman going against Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
Wow. And not backing down one bit. These freshmen coming in, I tell you, these guys from Texas, man, they got it.
Mm-hmm. And we've had a lot of good luck from Texas. So, just keep
everything that we have. Everyone that comes from Texas, man. If you're a recruit in Texas, get your butt to Ohio State. At least take a visit, man.
Yeah,
if you're a big time recruit
for a long time. So,
if you're a tackle, one of the best tackles in the country, Felix, get your butt to Ohio State. Take a couple more visits, man. Yeah. Like, there's a whole Texas posse there that's doing awesome.
And even
the families are good, the kids are good, they're mature, they fit in perfectly in Ohio for some reason. I think there's something about our culture in Ohio and Texas where we're kind of genuine straight shooters.
Yeah.
It just matches well. And just being able to live up to this football 24/7 hype.
Right.
High school down there prepares you for everything that you're going to get at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Right.
It also helps when you have past players from Texas too that talk to these kids and say, hey, Texas might be good.
And current players.
Yeah. Like you want to come.
Current players' families are like, they're helping out on the recruiting field.
Yep, they sure are. Will Howard was out today. I saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Will Howard was in there. Yeah, he walked right past us. Oh, speaking of that, we were talking about the defense, and I would happen to be, up on a bench filming, taking pictures, checking everything out. And then Mrs. Stiles, Mama Stiles, was the one right next to me. She was talking, cheering on her kid, and she really wanted to see Lorenzo do good. I did ask her one question. I was like, hey, what about that Blocko for Sonny Stiles? Does he want that Blocko jersey? She was like, honestly, he hasn't mentioned it. He's too dialed into everything else. And I was like, that's the best answer I've heard all day. Like they're not worried about that. Not worried about the social media. Not worried about what people say, because people are going to say bad things about them the first turn they get. They're going to say good things about them the next day. So I thought that was interesting. He's ready to play ball, man. It doesn't matter what jersey he's wearing. He's going to go in and be an All-American.
Yeah,
Lorenzo is the one that she really wanted to see. She really wanted to see both of her sons on the field at the same time. And I was like, that's got to be cool. That's got to be a cool feeling,
Yeah, I mean, coming from a Buckeye legend like Lorenzo Stiles Sr., obviously Sonny has the ability. I think Lorenzo does too, and I think he got some shots last year, and when he was in, I was like, oh, Lorenzo's in.
And he did well.
I'm like, I didn't even know he earned playing time, and I was impressed.
He earned it.
So, I look forward to him living up to that name, because Lorenzo Stiles Sr. was a dog. So,
and I think the next thing, defensive line wise, Edric Houston, he looked pretty good, and he's playing defensive tackle. So I know he came in as maybe a defensive end, defensive tackle, and really an edge guy, but he's a defensive tackle now.
Yep.
Full time.
That doesn't surprise me. That guy's a bulldozer. We need that.
Downs played pretty well, and he had limited reps, but he played well when he was in, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah. I gotta say though, is it wrong for me to be more optimistic about the defensive line this year than the last few? Is that crazy?
Is it wrong to say what about the offensive line?
The defensive line. Is it wrong for me to be more optimistic about the defensive line we have coming in this year than that we've had the last few years with like JT and Jack, because it took JT and Jack a bit to get to where they got. I think the guys we're going to have on this defensive line this year are like farther along where they're at than what we've had, if that makes sense. Like,
well, you look at it as in a different way. A lot of times when you lose that many guys on a defensive line, you think, oh, we didn't have any experience. But these guys coming in had plenty of experience. They're leaders of the team already. And they, I don't know, I think they just got the right mix, but the depth, that's where I'd have to draw back the reins a little bit, pull back those reins. The depth just not there. And that's definitely where they're going in the portal after the spring. They got to get some depth at the defensive end, defensive line. And Brian Day's already said it. They're going to look in the portal right away. Maybe not even a starter. They don't need a starter. They just need someone for rotation pieces.
The reason I say it mainly is because we obviously heard rumblings that Knowles and Larry Johnson weren't on the same page. Now, that's never been 100% confirmed by either party or anybody close to the situation.
Except for Denzel Burke.
Yeah, except for Denzel Burke, who he's always been a great shooter. Follow him on Twitch. That's my shameless plug. When he streams, he hasn't streamed in a while, obviously. But
let's get on. Go ahead.
But I think Larry Johnson and Matt Patricia is gonna be a better marriage, and I think the defensive line is gonna start looking a lot more like pre-COVID offense. Defensive line for Ohio State. So I'm optimistic.
Oh yeah,
optimistic, but
so Ohio State at the voice of college football. He said, and I agree with you. I think they really trust Lorenzo. They do. I mean, he's been labeled as the nickelback. Not anyone came out and said that, but that's the rumblings, that the word around the woody, I guess we'll call it, is he's going to be the starting nickelback. Now, we don't know for sure. That could change. This is still spring ball. But as of right now, I think he's solidifying himself in that nickelback role.
I think he's earned it. I think they do for sure. And they should. I mean, look what family he comes from. I mean, his brother, a beast. He's got something to him. He just...
I think it's just him, man. I don't even want to go with the family he comes from. I mean, he comes from football, that's for sure.
Yeah. He started his career as a wide receiver. So, I mean, obviously, when you switch positions, you got to question.
But Ohio State wanted him as a DB.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame took him as a wide receiver and switched him. And he was like, oh, Ohio State was right. Coming back home.
Yeah, you end up questioning, like, oh, well, will he do good at a position like that? And then you give him a shot. He earns his stripes, and here it is. So.
And I think that's why, maybe you don't go to Ohio State as a wide receiver that doesn't know for sure if you're going to be a wide receiver, because he knows as soon as he enters that room, he's going over to DB, right? Because that's his ticket to the NFL. Yeah,
I think Lorenzo realized once he got here that I should have just tried to come here, even if I had to walk on as a DB the entire time, and he probably would have saved himself some time. I gotta get
on here and get. I'm getting yelled at. I am not playing a commercial yet, so Dano seasoning, yum, get you some.
Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa.
Joe, we all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better.
What you got?
Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Yum, get you some. That's not just a slogan. You go try it. It's worth it. And even if it's not, like, that slogan's worth it, I would buy some just because that's an awesome commercial.
Yeah, the chicken commercial is what we always said when I did a show.
Oh yeah, I mean, that burrito, man, that burrito makes me hungry every time. Yeah. Joe Burrito, what a great name. All right, where were we at before I had to get to commercial break? We were still talking about that defense, Lorenzo Styles.
Yep.
Are we moving along? Are we moving out away from the defense?
Yeah, we can.
Looks good. Look good.
Start talking about
Everything.
what we want to see in this game next Saturday.
Yeah, I think really what we want to see in the game next Saturday. Let's talk about the offense. Anyone else? We talked about Mylan Graham. We talked about Bo Jackson, who we've been raving about all spring. Showed out. When he touched the ball, he did have a drop, which, whatever. It's just one drop, and that's going to happen. He's a freshman. Looked great. Looked explosive, looked fast. And some of the guys that they know they're starting, I don't know if we got a whole lot of reps from them and a whole lot of full go. It looked like Jeremiah Smith was not going full go, or maybe told not to quite go full go, but he couldn't help himself, so sometimes he did.
Yeah.
That was my impression of him. I mean, one time he came over the middle wide open, and I just don't know how Jeremiah Smith is ever wide open, especially against our defense.
Yeah. I mean, I know Caleb Downs is dealing with some
the nagging injury.
Yeah. And
he's not. I mean, he looks healed. When he's ready to play, he can play. I think it's just a pitch count.
You're not going to see much of Downs and Smith, I would imagine, on Saturday, next Saturday.
So who do you want to see?
The guy.
I mean, obviously, it's the quarterback battle. We want to see what they're doing.
Yeah. The guy I really am hoping and wanting to see if he explodes this year is Brandon Ennis. I think he'd be so special. And obviously, when you have Jeremiah Smith in the room, that's going to be the talk of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what Tate can do, but Ennis really, really think he could be like a JSN type. And of course, Mylan Graham too. I think both of them could be that type of receiver for us. But Brandon Ennis, I really think that this is going to be his year where he makes a name for himself. And obviously, that all depends on who the quarterback is too.
Well, he got the ball from Kienholz a lot today.
Yeah. And
over the middle, surprisingly, too.
And
Ennis is what? He's 6 foot.
Yeah. I think Ennis, from what I saw today, Ennis has made himself a clear leader in that wide receiver room, and maybe even team-wise.
They mentioned that already in press conferences. The 1, 2, it's the 4 through 6 that we need to figure out who they are.
Yeah. So
the top 3 are solidified.
Ennis is a guy who I really think could explode big time.
That'd be good to see. It'll be interesting because you never know. You get a lot of the Bam Childress type springs for people. And you just think they're going to pop. You think they're going to pop, and then all season long, nothing happens. And that's been the MO every year. There's someone. There's that one guy where you're just talking about all spring long, and then they don't show up during the season. So the Mylan Graham, I worried about that, but he looked good.
You also get the Michael Thomas springs where he was like the best player out there and still wasn't a starter until like his junior year. And I couldn't believe it. His first 2 spring games, I was like, who is this guy? He's great. Why is he playing? And then, of course, once he started playing, I was like, oh, there's that guy I saw. Why wasn't he out there before?
Was there more of a reason to not play freshmen than there are now? Because now you just got to do it. They come in ready. I mean, these freshmen are looking like NFL players from the get-go.
It's not like Urban didn't play freshman, but it was a little more rare than I would say. But boy, Michael Thomas, he deserved to be out there way quicker than he was. He was good. He was really good.
I want to see Arvell Reese pop too on defense because man, is he. Did you happen to get close around him afterwards? Because
I got his autograph.
Dude is a big dude.
And he's from Glenville, correct?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's 6.
Do I need to say more about where the program he came from? I mean that's a tough as nails program all the time. That's the type of guy who a lot like Jermaine Mathews and Igby Noson. They got that edge to them.
Yeah.
And God, if we can get more guys like that on defense all the time, we're good. We're going to be A-okay. We need guys like that. We need some just trash talkers that back it up all the time. And I think Arvell Reese can back up anything he says.
Oh, yeah.
Potential.
That's interesting.
Importanitis, again, thank you, God, for bringing James back home.
Yeah. You know how he wanted to be here for a long time? He wanted to be at Ohio State and coaching, and then he got his chance as a GA at, was it a GA at Notre Dame that he started out?
Yeah.
And then the very next year, they're like, yep, bring him on over.
Yep.
And
like
he's here. So, I mean, he's recruiting like crazy. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to come and play for him?
Mm-hmm.
James Laurinaitis. I mean, you're getting this perfect mix of these older guys that are like the mentors, and then you got the player coaches that they've done it, they've been there, they know what it's like, they know the work you have to put in, and they know the mentality you have to have as a Buckeye.
Yeah, funny story. I actually worked with his mom at one point, about like 7 years ago, and she spoke about him a lot and said how loyal he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why after the Rams let him go, that he like quickly after stopped playing in the NFL, because he was just so loyal to the Rams. And once he got, I think, to the Saints, he was just like,
just not the same.
He just kind of lost the love for his playing career. But
for sure,
he always said he wanted to get into coaching afterwards. And I was like, I really hope that he comes to Ohio State, because, you know, at the time our linebackers were still great. But I was like, I really feel like he'd make an impact. And boy, once I saw him go to Notre Dame, I said, we got to get him. He can be the Brian Hartline of this defense. And
Ryan Hill wants to say what's up.
Yeah, that's my co-host.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done the show in a bit, but yeah, that's my dude. That's my Buckeye bro.
That's the Buckeye bro.
Yeah, that's one of them. One of the two.
Another college football dog. Here we go. All right. One more commercial. We'll get back to it. We are going to do a little icebreakers. All right. So it's starting to heat up. So get it now while you got it. Well, you can get it.
Icy Breeze is the world's first portable air conditioner and cooler. A premium ice cooler that doubles as an eco-friendly portable air conditioner. This is not a swamp cooler just blowing air across ice. Over 60 parts and components allow Icy Breeze to achieve what no other product in the world can do. The secret behind the Icy Breeze is an innovative design that circulates chilled ice water through a heat exchanger in the lid, replacing the Freon used in most ACs. Fresh air is drawn from hidden vents in the top of the cooler, pulled across the exchanger, and chilled down to 35 degrees cooler than the outside air. A 3-speed fan control delivers Icy Breeze's dry, cold air up to 25 miles per hour, just like a car AC. And a stay-put flex hose directs the breeze in any direction. Wherever you need it, Icy Breeze helps you beat the heat.
I'm going to need one of those for softball games, for my daughter's softball games, my son's t-ball games this summer. Get it now, man. Get it now. Icy Breeze, baby. I want to be cool when I'm out there on the softball fields, on the baseball fields. Because, man, nothing's more miserable than that sun beating down on you.
Amen.
Oh, on a softball field in the middle of June.
Ohio State could use a lot of those during those warm practices, you know.
Oh, and that's the thing, though, that Texas game, it's going to be at noon in the worst part of the season, first game of the year. What's it? August 30th? I think it's August 30th. And it's going to be a noon game, just baking in the sun. And then that return trip, we've covered this before. That return trip, when we go down to Austin, you know that's going to be prime time in that Austin heat. I mean, it's going to feel good at night.
Thanks, Gene Smith and Kevin Warren. Appreciate it.
But it's not just that. It's like we always get that. As Buckeyes, we always get that noon game. Always get it.
Anymore, yeah, because of
Share
those.
the wealth. Share the wealth. Someone else get that noon. Give them that nooner.
Amen.
We don't like it no more. All right. Hey, final thoughts. Final thoughts on today, and then what you want to see on the spring game. let's start with the quarterback. Is that a one-off? Are we just are we blowing smoke?
Outside of Sayin, who I was hoping I would see better from today overall, I saw everything I thought I'd see today. And if you put him out right now, obviously it's an unpolished thing. But every college football team at this point in spring is unpolished. So, to me, this is still a 10-2 at worst team.
Yes.
Unless things go horribly wrong, which I don't suspect they will. And this is a team that I think by the time we get to the season, and even if we lose the Texas game, this is a team that can go up north, win that game, go to the Big Ten title game, win that, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Like I said, will they repeat? I don't know. Do I hope so? God, yes, of course so. I love getting new merch. I love being able to gloat that we're national champions. And I want to be able to gloat that we're national champions with all the other accolades that come with it, like beating the team up north and winning Big Ten. But I saw what I needed to see today, and I'm sure that come fall we'll hear a lot of better things, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited for the spring game. I'm excited to see some guys kind of make themselves stand out, and we'll see if like Quincy Porter or Aaron Scott or some of these other guys make a name for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I echo those sentiments. What I didn't think I was going to see was Saying. I was fully coming in this prepared to be like, Saying's doing this, Saying's doing that. Saying has taken the lead and run with it.
Yep.
But Kienholz slapped me in the face and just said, "Hey, not so fast, my friend, not so fast." So
it's a battle.
It's a battle. It is definitely a battle. That's why you got to go to the spring game, make some noise, and get these quarterbacks flustered so we can see who's really the man for the job. So get there, be in that seat. I think it's $8, man. So you're going to waste $8 on something else. You might as well do it at the shoe, right?
There are so many Buckeye fans who I've talked to over the years who are like, I've never been to a game. And I'm like, you literally for like,
that's your chance.
In the past, it was like $5. But like even under $10, that could be your first experience in the horseshoe.
No,
if you ever afford a game,
do it. Yeah. And it's supposed to be a game. And from what I saw today, I believe it's going to be a game, man. There were some pads popping today.
And it's crucial for recruiting. A big recruiting thing, too. So it's always important that Buckeye Nation show up. And if we got 40 to 50,000 for a championship celebration, I have no doubt we'll get at least 80, 90,000 in there. Obviously, since COVID, we've dipped down in attendance on that a little bit. We used to get 100,000 easy in the spring games. So even on non-championship years, but I expect at worst 80,000, probably 90,000 people, which will gladly suffice and impress recruits, make for a good day.
It's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be nice so far. I got to thank a couple people in the locker room that haven't been in there in the past, as far as I remember. Kyle McGraw, Shane Peroni. We've seen Ryan Hill before. We've been on your show in the chat too. Ohio State at the Voice of College Football. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. All you guys, keep on coming. Keep the locker room lively, man. We do have a thing where you earn a member of the locker room if you're in here enough, if you comment enough, if you're giving good comments, not just like, fluff, not something to just take up a room. And then we're going to give you some merch. We got one guy already, and he will be, Doug Shepard will be getting a hat where he removed his black stripe. So you black stripe removed. Cool. The hats coming. We're going to, pull the tape off of them and then send one out to them sometime before the first game of fall, and hopefully before the spring game. Well, I don't know when they're going to arrive, so we'll see. But anyway, if you don't already, follow us on X, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and wherever you get your podcast. If it's an auditory podcast, we're there too. So go download it, listen to the show, and when season starts, it'll be regular. Right now, it's a little sporadic. We'll do something after the spring game. We'll probably do a morning after. So during the season, we always do a morning after show. It's just Buckeye Backers morning after show. So we do it bright and early on Sunday morning. Hopefully we'll do it this next Sunday. All right. And then thanks again. God bless. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again for King Buckeye, Alex Bryan, for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Always happy to be here, man. Whenever you need me.
We are out. God bless again.
Go Bucks.
Have a